Alright, welcome. I know this probably isn't the kind of video you expected to see from my channel unless you watched my update video and you paid attention, then in that case you did, but, um, yeah, I'm doing another discussion video, and if you don't like it, I don't care. Fuck you, you're gonna watch it anyway, or you're not, and you know what, that's perfectly fine. But, yeah, I have a little bit of something different today. I'm doing discussion that I wrote a script for, which is the first time I've ever done that. And you are required by law to enjoy it. So you have to have a good time watching this video. So yeah, do that. It's no secret at this point that Five Nights at Freddy's is a game series people love. To this day, it still manages to be one of the most iconic horror franchises of all time, and even with its newest release, is still pulling crazy numbers. Every time a new game comes out, it always brings back discussion and debates online about really every aspect about the games, but you don't seem to hear about where people think the series will go quite as often. I mean, it makes sense, right? Five Nights at Freddy's has always been a pretty simple gameplay loop. I personally think the ways in which they've innovated across the series has been stellar, and they manage to make the experience feel fresh every time while still maintaining the same simple concept. Sit and work in a room and keep the animatronics away. This is usually the case anyways. They have deviated from it twice, with varying levels of success, but never has a game felt so new and different than Security Breach. Deviating from the same simple structure you've always had can do numbers to make a game feel unique and fun. I mean, look at Breath of the Wild, for example. But Security Breach didn't get anywhere near as high of a reputation. So, why is that? Why do so many people, even aside from the bugs, still dislike this game so much? And where does the series really even go from here? That's what I aim to come to a conclusion by here today, so grab some strangely animated 2D popcorn and enjoy the show. If you've heard discourse on the internet surrounding Security Breach, you've heard that it had a terrible launch. Bug-ridden state of the game upon release was inescapable, especially for players on PS4. You couldn't even talk about the game without it being brought up. That's not even close to its only problem, though, and it's far from the only way the game was affected by a rushed development cycle. If you want a more in-depth look at everything that was cut, go watch Tetrabits' videos on the subject. They go way more in-depth than what I'm going to go here, but how about a quick summary? There was supposed to be originally, I don't know, lots more mini-games and expansions on already existing ones, including one that included manually using the cart to decommission Roxy. Lots of new rooms around the Pizzaplex that would be used for longer missions, remixed music from older games, which I can only imagine is an indication that we would have had, more throwback content in the game, or throwback content really at all, and most importantly, a much larger emphasis on Vanny and Vanessa. In a game that lacks replayability in a series that has always made sure to provide things to do, this really just does contribute to the lack of what makes a game feel like Five Nights at Freddy's. They've had a great opportunity here and clearly planned to at least kind of want to take action on it, but they never did. So since the game lacks replayability, it at least feels like it has a lot to do in the main game, right? It has to, doesn't it? Well, no, not really. Sure, there are a few things you can run around and do, but it's nothing groundbreaking, and almost all the main missions feel devoid of meaningful content. The early game is great, don't get me wrong, but past that, the game is riddled with substanceless fetch quests. Exploring the Pizzaplex can be fun when it makes sense to do so, but it often feels like I just randomly have to go all the way across the game's map just to get something that very easily could have been obtainable in any other way. You can tell that it's just the team artificially extending the playtime of the game because they couldn't really carry out the plans that they originally wanted. Some of the later sequences in the game are still great, and the true ending was a very unexpected and wonderful surprise. It just didn't have these moments nearly to the extent that it should or could have. But gameplay aside, it should at least have an established villain like most of the other Five Nights at Freddy's games, right? Okay, so here's the thing. This game does have the quote-unquote big bad that you expect to see in each game across the series, but the character's role has never had this little importance in the game's story. Vanny shows up a total of 2 times aside from the Vanny ending, which is still establishes nothing about the character's motivations or relation to the main cast we've come to learn about over the last 7 or so years. Vanny was meant to play a bigger role, and it's suspected that Vanessa was intended to even be playable at some point in development. But it never really happened, and we ended up with, let's see, 4 instances of her really even showing up? The worst part is that none of these appearances even do anything to establish details about her character in any meaningful way. The most we can do is hope for further developments with DLC, but even that wouldn't feel right. Moving on, let's say you get asked what the scariest Five Nights at Freddy's game is. I mean, what do you say? The original? Pizza Simulator? Help Wanted? Now, let's do the opposite. What's the least scary game in the series? Well, you'll pretty consistently be met with a single answer. Can you guess what it is? Wow, how did you know? That's right, it's Security Breach. The reason you'll get this answer most of the time is because of a few different reasons, but I've narrowed it down to 2 main ones I really want to bring up here. The first failure lies in the atmosphere, or I guess lack thereof. There are a few sections of the game with great atmospheric setting that you would expect to take place in the Five Nights at Freddy's games, and both of those sections work wonderfully. The sewers and basement by parts and service were some of my favorite sections of the game, and they were both pretty genuinely terrifying. Those 2 sections were the only times that I really felt the uncertainty and raw fear that had become a staple of the series for so long, which made the rest of the game bafflingly lighthearted in contrast. The only other point in the game that I really found scary was the Let There Be Light mission, which leads me to my next point. This game's jump scares are all so easy to see coming that it's genuinely laughable. You have so much time to prepare for an upcoming scare that it really loses all of its intended value. Admittedly, the series has struggled with this before, but even then you never really knew exactly when something was going to happen, only that it was going to soon enough. And that's why the daycare section got me so good. It was hard to traverse through the play structures while also knowing where Moondrop was at all times, and he would often seemingly get you out of nowhere. Apart from Chica in the sewer maze, no other animatronic throughout the game really even got this luxury.
Okay, well that took forever. Hey!
Hi, please take this map.
Hi. You're by far the scariest thing in this whole goddamn game.
Five Nights at Freddy's' horror lives and dies on its jump scares, so why can't it even get those right? So, with all that said, where do they really go from here? Five Nights at Freddy's' story really should have ended at Pizzeria Simulator, but obviously they don't feel like stopping for now. If they must continue on, then how should they do so? It's tough to say where they'll choose to go for sure, but I have a pretty good idea on what the main 2 options should most likely be. One of the choices available to them is to just go back to the more formulaic games. I mean, it's not a bad option as long as they're still innovating. The thing is, they've set the bar so high for new experiences with Security Breach that people are going to be slightly disappointed, even if the main game goes back to just being what we've all gotten a million times by now. The first 6 games were great, yes, but it would feel like a strange step back to return to those now. And if they do go back, they need to innovate somehow. I'm not going to sit here and tell them what all they should specifically do, of course. I'm, again, not the one making the games for a reason. They just need to find a way to capture that classic Five Nights at Freddy's essence while still bringing something new to the table. So what about the other option? Let's say they keep their ambitions in check, hopefully, but keep going on with bigger and better projects. You know, give themselves some proper time to develop a game with new concepts, and hopefully they'll take the criticism they got from Security Breach to develop a game that succeeds as an expansion on the world of Five Nights at Freddy's while still being a fulfilling experience that really feels like the next logical step for the series. Best part is, I have a reason to be hopeful. I think Security Breach was an amazing step in the right direction that ended up just being rushed and failing to deliver on what makes Five Nights, Five Nights. I think that now they understand what to do and not to do just a little bit better, and their next effort should be something to look forward to. Anyways, with that being said, that should be it for today's video. Yeah, I know this might be a little disappointing if you're subscribed to me and you've gotten used to like gameplay, edited content, whatever. But this is just like a thing that I kind of want to try to venture into. And yeah, this video wasn't amazing, but you know, I gotta start somehow, right? So, if there was anything, if there's any, you know, constructive criticism you guys want to give, just go ahead, you know, let me know in the comments. And sorry if, you know, I didn't hit every point super well, but, you know, I'm hoping this was enough to at least be an alright start. So, anyways, yeah, sorry for missing last Friday. I should be able to, like, be good from now on and continue with weekly uploads and stuff, but, yeah, just, you know, until now, really, you know, I appreciate the support you guys have been giving me, and I hope we're able to grow throughout the year, because doing this, I think starting on this YouTube thing is gonna be fun. I'm hoping at least, you know. And if you're more curious about where I've been, what my plans are roughly for the future, I did release an update video on Tuesday, which is 3 days ago as of the time of this being uploaded. So yeah, thank you guys, and see you next time.